Ever notice how your brain treats social invitations like emergency alerts? When friends suggest hitting up that amazing new venue, you don't feel excitement. You feel exhaustion before you've even left the house. Here's the truth. You're not defective. Your mind simply operates on a different frequency than most people realize. What you're experiencing isn't social anxiety, though the two often get confused. Social anxiety involves fear of judgment or negative evaluation. What we're talking about is something entirely different. It's about how your nervous system fundamentally processes the world. Understanding this distinction changes everything. Let's break it down. Number 1, your nervous system doesn't do selective attention. While others naturally filter out background noise, competing conversations, and environmental details, you're involuntarily cataloging everything. That shift in someone's posture, logged. The tension in a stranger's voice, noted. Is the ambient music changing tempo? Filed away. Scientists identify this as sensory processing sensitivity. Roughly 15 to 20% of people experience the world this way. Dr. Elaine Aron's research on highly sensitive persons reveals that this trait appears across more than 100 species, suggesting it's not a disorder, but an evolutionary strategy. Think of it as having a reception that's too good. You're picking up signals that others' brains automatically dismiss. But here's what most people don't understand about this heightened awareness. It comes with a very real cost called cognitive load. Your working memory, the mental space where you process immediate information, has limited capacity. While others use maybe 30% of that capacity in social situations, you're running at 80 to 90%. This is why a 2-hour gathering leaves you feeling like you've run a marathon. You literally have been working harder mentally than everyone else in the room. This processing style also affects your response to stimulation. Research shows that highly sensitive individuals have increased activation in brain regions associated with awareness, integration of sensory information, and empathy. Your insula and mirror neuron systems are essentially running at a higher voltage. When you need to leave a party early, you're not being rude. You're experiencing genuine neurological overwhelm. This isn't a bug in your programming. Historically, this trait helped communities survive. While some members could focus on social bonding and immediate tasks, others monitored the environment for threats, tracked seasonal patterns, and noticed subtle changes others missed. Both strategies were essential. You're descended from the observers, the strategists, the ones who thought several moves ahead. Number 2, you don't dislike people, you dislike pretense. In group settings, you notice the disconnect between what people say and what their bodies communicate. The forced laughter, the rehearsed responses, the carefully maintained facades. Your perceptual abilities make you acutely aware of these gaps. Research on emotional intelligence suggests that a preference for solitude often correlates with heightened social awareness. A study published in the Journal of Personality found that people who enjoy solitude demonstrate superior emotional regulation and self-reflection capabilities. You're not avoiding interaction because you lack skills. You're selective because surface-level exchanges feel mentally draining. Here's something fascinating. Psychologists distinguish between different types of solitude. There's enforced isolation, which is harmful and associated with loneliness. Then there's chosen solitude, which research links to increased creativity, self-awareness, and life satisfaction. You're practicing the latter, making intentional choices about where you invest your social energy. One genuine late-night conversation holds more value than dozens of superficial ones, because your brain craves what psychologists call high-quality connections. These are interactions characterized by mutual authenticity, positive regard, and genuine understanding. Your system doesn't just prefer these, it requires them to feel socially nourished. Small talk, networking events, and crowd-based socializing rarely provide this depth, which is why they leave you feeling depleted rather than energized. This selectivity also protects your energy for relationships that matter. Research on relationship quality shows that having a few deep friendships correlates more strongly with well-being than having many casual acquaintances. Your instinct to prioritize depth over breadth isn't antisocial, it's strategically social. Number 3, your brain chemistry literally prioritizes different activities. While extroverted nervous systems get chemical rewards from external stimulation and social engagement, introverted systems favor acetylcholine pathways, rewarding reflection, concentration, and independent thought. This difference is measurable. Neuroscientist Dr. Deborah Johnson used PET scans to track blood flow in introverted versus extroverted brains. She discovered that introverts show more activity in the frontal lobes associated with problem solving and planning, and anterior thalamus, processing internal thoughts. Extroverts show more activity in areas associated with processing external sensory experience. It's not preference, it's physiology. When you're alone with a book or lost in thought, your brain isn't idle. Neurological studies show introverts often have more developed prefrontal cortex regions associated with abstract thinking and planning. Your downtime is actually high processing time. You're consolidating memories, making creative connections, and engaging in what neuroscientists call the default mode network, the brain's introspective operating system. Here's the practical implication. If you force yourself to attend every social event to seem normal, you're actually depriving your brain of the conditions it needs to function optimally. It's like asking a deep-sea creature to thrive in shallow water. Technically possible, but why would you want to? The dopamine difference also explains why you might feel understimulated in situations others find thrilling. Your brain requires less dopamine stimulation to feel content, and excessive stimulation can actually feel overwhelming rather than pleasurable. This is why a quiet evening can feel more satisfying than an exciting night out. You're operating within your optimal stimulation zone. Number 4, you walk into spaces and immediately sense the atmosphere, even when nothing's been said. This happens because you unconsciously mirror and absorb surrounding emotional states. In crowds, you're not just managing your own psychological state, you're processing ambient emotional data from everyone nearby. Psychologists call this empathic accuracy, the ability to accurately infer others' emotional and mental states. Research shows this ability varies significantly across individuals, and those with sensory processing sensitivity tend to score higher. You're essentially running sophisticated emotional algorithms that most people's brains execute at much lower resolution. This sensitivity grants you exceptional insight into others' unspoken needs and feelings. You read subtext naturally, pick up on micro-expressions, and detect emotional incongruence when someone says they're fine but clearly isn't. In professional contexts, this makes you exceptional at roles requiring emotional intelligence, counseling, teaching, creative work, strategic planning, or any field where understanding human motivation matters. The trade-off? You need significant recovery time after social exposure, like your system needs to clear its cache. This isn't weakness. It's the natural consequence of processing more information. Think of it this way. If someone lifted twice as much weight as you at the gym, they'd need more recovery time. Your brain is doing heavier lifting in social situations, so of course, it needs more rest. Setting boundaries becomes essential. This might mean limiting consecutive social commitments, building in buffer time between events, or permitting yourself to leave when you've reached capacity. These aren't antisocial behaviors. They're sophisticated self-care practices that allow you to show up authentically when you do engage. Number 5, modern culture equates constant activity with success. Social media amplifies this, creating the illusion that everyone's perpetually engaged, connected, and thriving. But you've discovered what many people avoid. Quiet spaces provide clarity. Solitude enables self-knowledge. You're not withdrawing from life. You're engaging with it on terms that honor how you're wired. Philosopher Paul Tillich distinguished between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness expresses the pain of being alone, and solitude expresses the glory of being alone. You found the glory. Research supports this. Studies on solitude show it enhances creativity, strengthens identity formation, and provides essential space for emotional regulation. You understand that meaningful existence doesn't require constant external validation or perpetual availability. The most profound insights often emerge in stillness. Many of history's greatest thinkers, creators, and innovators were people who valued solitude. Einstein, who said his pencil was smarter than he was because he needed time alone to think. Maya Angelou, who rented hotel rooms to write without distraction. Or Susan Cain, who literally wrote the book on introversion while spending substantial time alone, researching and reflecting. Your preference for depth over breadth also appears in how you approach interests and hobbies. You'd rather master one instrument than dabble in 5. You'd prefer reading one author's complete works rather than skimming bestseller lists. This intensity of focus allows for genuine expertise and profound understanding, qualities increasingly rare in our attention-fractured world. When someone questions why you limit social commitments, recognize they're asking why you won't exhaust yourself conforming to environments that don't suit your cognitive style. You're designed for substance in a culture that often celebrates volume. That's not a limitation, it's a distinction. The world needs people who think deeply, observe, and feel profoundly. While others provide energy and momentum, you provide insight and wisdom. Both are essential. The key is honoring your design rather than forcing yourself into someone else's mold. So next time you choose a quiet evening over a crowded event, remember, you're not missing out. You're opting in to the life that actually sustains you. And that's not just okay, it's exactly what you should be doing. Which resonates more with you? Finding energy in crowds or finding clarity in quiet? Understanding your answer isn't about limitation, it's about liberation.